If you have joined, welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining me so far. I'm just getting everything tweeted out, and then we'll be kicking off. So not long to go. Let's head over to... Let me know who's in the chat. Right, we're ready. We're ready to kick it off. Let me get my screen shared. Right, there's the screen being shared. How many have we got in so far? Yeah, do let me know if we got in. Got no one commented so far. I've got 4 people watching though, but I don't know who. Get your comments in, people. Get your comments in. It'd be great to know who we've got in watching. But yeah, overall, how is everyone? We got Neji watching. Yes, mate. How we doing? How the devil are we, Neji? You okay, mate? Let me see. What's this? Dip to the moon. Oh, mate, do you know what? I've not seen you in ages. Dip to the moon. How the devil are you? I've not seen you in ages. I thought, hang on. Let me just check something. No. All right, hang on. Hang on. Bear with 1 minute. That's better. Yeah. Great to see everyone. Thank you for joining me. Those of you who joined. I'm gutted. Been waiting to take a Bitcoin short at 98k for ages. I'm guessing. Did you miss it? Maybe did you miss the entry? I'm guessing when we come up towards there. I don't know if we actually hit 98 or maybe we just looks like we slightly missed it, didn't we? Bosco, how we doing, mate? Great to see you. Dip to the moon says good. Was working a lot of hours for a few months, but back to normal now, mate. Well, it's great to have you back in the streams. Thank you very much for jumping in. It's always great to see people come back, especially those that haven't been around for a while. Do make sure drop a big like on the chat though. On the stream. Drop a big like on the stream, please. What's that? Yeah, please do drop a big like on the stream. It does help us out massively. And yeah, I mean, in terms of where we are since Wednesday, we've not had a whole lot of movement, have we? We've come actually down a little bit since I did the stream with Wiz on Wednesday evening. However, I actually think in terms of Bitcoin's looking great because we are holding nicely above SR. Now, little interesting on the Sol and ETH side, which we'll take a look at in a minute. But just focus on Bitcoin for a second. I think it's looking great. It's looking really nicely on the daily, holding on the daily above this. Pardon me, holding above support. So we actually haven't come down and properly tested it. In my eyes, you may see some people that perhaps would draw. Where's my toolbox there? Maybe perhaps they draw. Their SR maybe around there, around the wick highs. Personally, I like to get as much wick and daily candles in as possible. So that's why, hence, my boxes in and around 93.5 to 94, because you can see we get a lot of the daily candle closes in and that as well. But perhaps if someone had the line drawn there, you could say we have tested SR. For me, we've not come down and properly tested SR yet. That one did get in there, but preferably we would go up without coming down and testing SR. That would be nice. It would leave maybe some people unfilled. But I think in general, the market's looking great. Bitcoin from here, it's easy street for us. From here, it's easy street. Why? Because we've actually had the sweep of liquidity as well there now. So we can actually break down Bitcoin very, very easily, in my opinion, from here. And it is, we go up towards here, whether it be grinding or a fast thin move. We come down and test SR and bounce, or we come down, test SR, and we don't want to fall below. But if we do fall below, so literally there's just three outcomes from here. There's just three outcomes for me anyway. Of we continue to go up from here and just grind higher towards 107k. We come down and test SR and hold and then bounce, or we come down, test SR and then fall below. And that's it. That's all we could do. We could maybe chop in and around here, but I think if we're chopping in around here, the likelihood is you get this test. So it's really straightforward on Bitcoin from here. In the fact that we are either going to continue to go up or we come down for the SR test, and then after that we'll know more. So on Bitcoin, if you're already positioned in a long and you want to keep it open, you can kind of chill, can't you? Because I assume probably if you're long on Bitcoin, it's maybe from down towards here-ish. So, you've got plenty of room to just chill and not really be too worried, because, you can put your stop to break even, you can trim some off, you can put your stop in profit, whatever. But I think the general terms is, from here, it'd be nice to see Bitcoin continue to grind higher. But if we do come down and get that SR, then we'll know more after that happens for whether we fell back into the range, or if we bounce and then there's your SR test, flip, confirm confirmation of SR flip, and then we, look to grind higher. So pretty straightforward. I think while Bitcoin's in this region here that it was, it's really a chance to get chopped up by the market. Here, it's very straightforward. You're either already long and you're waiting, you're either short from up here, and again, you're waiting, or you're waiting to try and get in here, and that's it. Zane says, hey mate, hello to you, Zane. What's the money flow saying? I'll be honest, I don't really look at money flow at all. but I will pull it up for you, my friend. So in terms of the daily, we're coming down on the money flow. We're heading back towards the midpoint on the MFI. I think if we look at it on the weekly, let's see what it's saying on the weekly. So the weekly is continuing the downtrend. So the actual weekly downtrend began on the money flow anyway, all the way back nearly 2 years ago. And this just continues to go down, despite obviously Bitcoin on the high time frame going up. Because if you actually look on the high time frame, this has actually formed a higher low, hasn't it? If you actually look at this, and maybe I'll get rid of some of this rubbish. Hang on, just bear with me a second, mate. Let me get rid of this. Get rid of this. Yeah. So if you actually look at it on the high time frame, we've actually put in. Why is that not selected? We've actually put in a higher low, haven't we, here on the high time frame? And that obviously lines up with, you know, high, higher high. So that's actually quite interesting to see the money flow continuing to grind lower, especially over the past 2 to 3 months. But Bitcoin, yeah, has certainly, structure-wise as well, put in a nice bottom so far. So, yeah, but money flow continues to drop down on the high time frame. On the daily, same thing. We kind of reached the top, didn't we? It actually came in and around late 80s. But it's not something, I'll be honest, it's not something I really pay attention to often. It's not something I really pay attention to that often at all. I do see some people using it and some people looking at it, and I think in reason, everything kind of has its place regarding to that, as long as you don't apply, you know, your whole thesis and your whole trade around one thing like a money flow index. Yeah, so personally, it's just not something I pay attention to that often. But yeah, there we have it. The whole time I forgot to turn Stonksy on. So yeah, in terms of, you know, where are we going to go from here? I think it's just a game of patience. You know, we just have to be patient. You got to remember, Bitcoin spent 2 months trading inside a compact range, not really moving. You know, basically just chopping people up. 2 months in, you know, what looks to be a bottoming pattern at the moment. So we've been, what breakout range has been 3 days. We don't need to rush, and Bitcoin doesn't need to rush. If anything, if we're going to continue up, it can take its time baiting short and then give it more fuel to obviously carry on pushing higher. But yeah, I don't think we need to see an instant, you know, just God candle, you know, green. If anything, it's better off if Bitcoin takes its time and actually builds something solid, rather than in a liquid fast move that inevitably, if we rally hard up towards 107k fast, say we did it in, well, we came down within 3 daily candles. From there all the way down, we did it in 3 daily candles pretty much. Say we did it in 5 days. Again, I think that just likens to the fact that we would reject there and then witness a nasty pullback. Whereas if we grind higher slowly, when we reach that point, gives it a better chance of pushing through, because we haven't wasted all the fuel on just ripping to the upside too fast. But yeah, let me know who else is watching. Get your comments in, get your likes in. It's great to see you legends. If you want me to look at anything specific, do let me know. But I think what we should probably do now is go and have a look at Sol and ETH, because these are looking a bit different to Bitcoin. So if we look at Sol on the daily, we have had what I would class, and you could definitely class as a fake out so far. So again, this is how I've drawn Sol's range. You may draw it differently, or you may see other people draw it differently. That's fine. But for me, obviously, the breakout definitely came here. This wasn't enough for me to have a look at a breakout. But this candle, you know, getting its highest daily close since 12th of November. Obviously, when we closed there, that was the highest one. That one went all the way down there. That was its highest daily close in 2 months. And as you can see, cleared any previous wick and any previous daily candle from all this PA. So for me, that was looking like a breakout. And then obviously yesterday, we got the pushback down and crucially, where did the pushback down go to? It came back below my white box. So for me, that looks like a fake out on Sol for the time being. I don't think it really means too much at the moment because Bitcoin's looking good. So, you know, another green daily candle on Bitcoin and Sol probably finds itself back above the white box heading upwards. So, yeah, I'm not really too concerned on the Sol fake out so far, but structurally it is back below resistance, I would say anyway. I would definitely consider that a fake out for now and a liquidity clearance. So, yeah, that's where we're at on Sol, and I think basically it just depends on Bitcoin. You know, if Bitcoin comes back down and does an SR test here, then we're probably going to see Sol retrace a bit more. You know, maybe start looking at this region here, potentially for Sol, back towards maybe 135. But again, you know, if Bitcoin carries on, you know, say Bitcoin gets a push back up towards 98, I have full faith that Sol would then, you know, break back above its range, and then all being good with Bitcoin starts to then climb up towards here, is what I'm thinking anyway. But structurally on the daily anyway, we are back below resistance, and that was a failed breakout for me. ETH, kind of a bit of the same. ETH's a bit of a more weird one because of how ETH built its base. So, we got Wiz. Hello, Wiz, mate. Bullish on Wiz. So you're short from 147.5 with 50% out. Good decision. Good decision. You know, you can ride more downtrend or you can get stopped out in profit or break even, can't you? Having banked some. So, as ever, Wiz is trading the market as the most efficient way, in my opinion, you could possibly trade. So nothing new there for Wiz. But yeah, I think in terms of ETH is a bit more of a weird one compared to Bitcoin and Sol because it built its range very differently. Like, it looks a lot different, in my opinion, to Sol and Bitcoin. But we didn't really get much of a breakout on this because unlike Sol, you know, Sol basically come and just cleared out anything previously since the drop down, didn't it? Where ETH has got this massive wick to the upside, which we haven't even begun to sweep yet. And we didn't actually get too much higher than the daily close of the 10th of December. So while ETH did actually close, you know, at its highest level since the 12th of November, it wasn't really that much of an evident breakout for me. What I would say is ETH is holding better above than Sol. If you can see, obviously, ETH is holding nicely. You know, it tested it on the 14th, then tested it yesterday, and testing it again today. So down here, you know, where kind of you can draw your SR wherever you want. But particularly, you know, to the lower of my white box, ETH is showing demand down here. So ETH is holding quite nicely, which does set it up for a rally up towards 3,600 should Bitcoin behave. I think that's looking good. And ETH in general, you know, I think is looking probably it's weird because Solana has had probably the biggest push up out of all of them. You know, if you're looking at, you know, the bounce from this region here, you know, 120, what have we done there on Sol? We've done 20% up towards 25%. You're looking at on ETH from kind of the same time period, we've done like, yeah, you know, 13, 14, 15%. So Sol has been stronger in its PA, but I think structurally wise, ETH has been kind of the better at holding up, hasn't it, just overall? And if you notice on the chart, ETH doesn't have anywhere near the distance to cover to get back towards the sell-off point, where Sol's movement is actually a lot greater to get back up towards here. So long on Sol from 118, just holding on. Got lost at 134. Great entry. It's a fantastic entry, isn't it? I mean, you couldn't really have got that much more of a better entry, could you, if you tried? I'm guessing you was long on one of these days then, wasn't you, mate? The 18th or the 19th. It would have been, unless it was like, say, the 26th, and on the exchange it dropped a bit lower. I mean, you can't really get a better entry than that. You know, that is like max extraction from this whole entire move, getting long down here. So yeah, well done, mate. Obviously, for anyone else trading, If you do want to trade crypto or buy spot, we have a great selection of exchanges in the description: BLOFIN, WEEX, and Prime XBT, all with great deposit and welcome bonuses. If you want to trade, you know, also the TradFi side of things like gold, stocks, the S&P, even, you know, if you want to trade FX pairs, that is all on Prime, so you can find that in the description too. So yeah, if you are trading, do make sure you sign up with one of our links below. Yeah, I think Sol, ETH, and Bitcoin all look good. We're just kind of waiting on, you know, that initial impulse push, next kind of move higher after the breakout on Bitcoin, for then Sol and ETH to really start to get going. You know, at the moment they've started their engines, they've got the foot on the throttle, haven't they? But they can't really press the acceleration until Bitcoin really starts to get going. But, you know, I think structurally wise, it all looks set up for an eventual rally up towards here for Sol, ETH up towards here, and then potentially here, and then again Bitcoin up towards 107. It all just looks like one big trade. It's just when will it come? You know, when will it come? Do we have to drop down a bit first? But you know, we know the routes. We know the routes. I don't think we've got any data today, have we? Let's see how Chippy's doing. I know obviously a lot of you guys are interested in Chippy. Invested in Chippy. Chippy's still sat at 1.5, which is great. Holding nicely. Chippy holding nicely at 1.5 mil. Which is very nice. So that's all good on that front. I don't think we have any data today, do we? Or do we? I think we do, actually. I think we have. I'm sure we have something today. Let's see. Oh, this week. So we got a couple of Fed speeches. No, we don't. No, we don't. I could have sworn that we had something today, but we don't. It's all gone earlier in the week. Let's see what we've got coming up next week. Of course, it's not even that long until the FOMC meeting, is it? Now, let me switch this to US. Let's see what we got. So next week we've got Trump speaking on Wednesday. Woohoo! That should be fun. Then we've got core PCE on Thursday. We've got GDP. That is just a that's a re-estimate. Don't take any notice of that one. The only GDP you want to look at is the first print. So the first print of the quarter. So obviously we'll be looking for the first print of Q4, and then anything after that, because they do two re-estimates. So they'll do two recalculations and re-estimates, and then, you know, more often than not, it is just the exact same. So that is pointless. That should not be red folder anyway, because it's the re-estimate Q3. And then on Friday, we've got S&P Global Manufacturing and Services PMI. So not bad on the data next week, towards the end of the week, but obviously big Trump speech there. So he delivers a speech. Delivers a special address at the World Economic Forum in Switzerland. Yeah, that WEF forum, eh? No doubt he's probably going to say something funny. But yeah, it's not too long until we have the Fed meeting. That is less than 2 weeks away. That's on the 28th. So, will Trump and Machado not shake hands? Let's see what the Fed decision in January. There's 96% chance that there's going to be no change. So that hasn't seen really any change over the past week or two. As you can see, the chance of no change just started to grind up all throughout December. So, not really expecting anything apart from a no change for now anyway. But we have got, what is it? 10. We've got 12 days. Yeah, 12 days until. So it was 2 weeks on Wednesday. So a week on Wednesday is the next FYC meeting. Oh, I do apologise. Do make sure drop a big like on the stream. Get your comments in as well. Let me know who we've got. We've got some good viewership going on today. Let me get the poll up as well. Let me know where you think we're going on open. And of course, do make sure you join the Stonksy Discord. So Stonksy Discord is now open for anyone to join. It's now an open. I'm just gonna pop it in the chat. Boom. There you go. So yeah, do make sure you come and join the Stonksy Discord. It's free. You just click the link and join. Come and chat with the community. And just say, yeah, just chat about whatever you want, really. But yeah, it's now an open Discord. We've removed the lock on it. You don't get Stonksy for free, but you can join the Discord for free. Clarity Act ended crypto. No. Has it been passed? Has the Clarity Act been passed? I know there was big pushback yesterday from Coinbase. There's big pushback from Coinbase yesterday. Brian Armstrong basically saying that it's just the banks basically throwing the toys out the pram and trying to kill stablecoin rewards, because obviously the ease of just earning stablecoin rewards and how much more interest that they earn compared to, you know, a bank savings account. Delta's just arrived. Good afternoon, Groovers. Yeah, good afternoon, mate. How are you doing? You okay? Great to see you, Delta man. How is life? How's things? How's the drumming going? How is things? But yeah, do make sure you drop a like on the stream, please, people. It does help out massively. It does help out massively. But yeah, I think we've covered anyway. If you just joined, we've just covered Bitcoin, Sol, and ETH. We haven't covered anything else yet, but we've just been looking at these extensively. And basically, for Bitcoin, these are the options. Sol and then ETH are just waiting on, you know, more Bitcoin momentum to actually properly break out and start to expand. And that's what kind of where we're at. And I assume if we look at other altcoins, it's in the exact same scenario. Look at XRP. What a weird looking chart that is. What a very strange looking chart that is. Hype. Kind of it's going to be a late mover in it if Hype gets going, but still within what we're looking at as a potential bottoming pattern. Clash, have you heard anything? I don't even know what Clash is. I've no clue, mate. I have no clue. BB. 1K next as the region of resistance from here. Looks good to me. Zek. This is a funny old mover, isn't it? Zek's a funny old mover. I drew this out before Christmas, like quite early on in December, and while we haven't dropped all the way back down there, we literally just swept that line perfectly. If you see there, that daily candle come up to 555. That line was at 548, and I didn't short it. I completely forgot about it. So that wasn't too good. Otherwise, it would have netted a really nice short. But yeah, there we go. Doge, what's Doge doing? Yeah, so a lot of these are looking. If you notice the structures of Sol and ETH, just go back and have a look. You know, Sol, really nice range builds, popped above the range, back below, but you know, still pressing the range high. ETH, same thing. You know, really pressing the range high. And then you look at others. BNB looks strong, so BNB is definitely in the camp of Sol and ETH. But then you look across to other altcoins, and they just don't look. They're not even really at the resistance point, are they? You know, Doge's resistance area is up towards here, like 15.5 cents. Asta, Again, looks like hype, done it, where it's just still in and around where it looks like it's trying to put in a bottom. Pump doing well today, up 5%. This has been strong off the bottom. Pump has been strong. Obviously, initially got that New Year's pump, but then led by the pump fee restructure. Pepe. What's good about a lot of these is, well, and Pepe is it's still 46.7% up from where it opened on New Year's Day. Where it opened in New Year, it's still 46% up, even though it's retraced from here down all the way down to here. But still massively up year to date so far, Pepe, and I assume probably that's the same for a few of the other stronger meme coins. Torn, yeah, pulling all the way back down. Look at Torn, actually, that came right into that box I drew. Had a TRX, covered TRX yesterday a little bit. There's Litecoin, there's that move. There we go. So there's that move on Litecoin that I drew out again probably before Christmas. And we're now in there. But I mean, am I so interested in trading Litecoin? Not really. Link looking good. Again, you know, you can see the difference, can't you, in what is like what has got strength at the moment and what hasn't. And you know you're looking at Link there. We're having some resistance coming in and around here. Here's kind of the actual range resistance on it. Link there. You can see support along here on the daily. Flipped resistance, resistance, resistance. Tagged it a little bit here. Hi Nick, how you doing? Be glad to know Paul's already out, mate. So don't worry. But yeah, I think. Look at Sui. Sui's doing well. So Sui already broke range, didn't it? Sui already broke range on the New Year pump. So Sui looks like it's just formed a nice little bit of SR there. You can see that, and it obviously depends, you know, where you want to draw it and how you want to draw it. But you can definitely pull that across there and say, right, you know, there's resistance all along there, and we've had nice testing support nicely from the 8 onwards. Sui already looking good. AVAX is one of the others. Again, you know, yet to break resistance. AVAX. Resistance point along here. There we go. So, it's definitely a mixture of how strong things are looking. You know, some things are looking strong. I don't know at what point we just removed this from the watch list. This thing should be crazy how low that's gone. But yeah, all in all, it's just a game of patience. This thing is crazy. Yes, Jeff, how we doing, mate? Great to see you. Smash the likes. Yeah, do make sure you get your likes in, people. But yeah, I mean, XMR Monero, strong as ever. That was quite a big wick on the daily, wasn't it? So a lot of selling pressure coming on that. And yesterday as well. So perhaps people are starting to take profits, you know, at kind of the 2-3x region. Or, you know, maybe even more if they're in from lower. But Dash, I mean, Dash is doing crazy work, isn't it? Dash is doing crazy work. That is, you know, a clean almost 2.5x off the bottom. Rose pumping up. Zen stream, you know, this is one from stream that we were looking at during that privacy hype in October, November. And again, you know, this is one that's moved very similarly to Dash, doing really well. So what I am going to do while we're here, though, is just go through this watch list and just very quickly just get rid of all this rubbish that's on here. And then we need to pull, you know, whatever we need to pull up, we can. There's just so much stuff that don't need to be on here. Like that. Get rid of them. Just clean out the watch list a bit. It kind of feels good cleaning it out, doesn't it? Feels like you're really having a good clean out. And look at all this. Just clean it all out. I've got a nice clean watch list then again. Nearly there. There we go. Get rid of that. 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 Still more that need cleaning out. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Yeah, there we go. We're basically there. Why does everything follow Bitcoin? Because Bitcoin is the biggest. Bitcoin was the first. Bitcoin. It's just Bitcoin's the daddy, innit? Bitcoin's the daddy. Bitcoin's the market mover. Bitcoin is and always will be the largest asset. Nothing will ever flip Bitcoin. If anyone ever tells you that Ethereum or XRP or anything's going to flip Bitcoin, it's absolute nonsense. Nothing will ever flip Bitcoin. And it's just how markets work. They follow the leader, don't they? They follow the leader. You know, if, for instance, if Nvidia just starts crashing for no reason, and you know, it's just crashing and crashing hard like Bitcoin crashes, other stocks will just naturally follow it because it causes concern. Like the opposite, if Nvidia starts, you know, breaking out from here and starts going to new highs and stuff like that, it creates momentum, it creates good feeling, it creates that sense of that sense of confidence. Can Monero flip Bitcoin? Nothing can ever flip Bitcoin, no. In my opinion, of course. In my opinion, it's just my opinion. You know, I can't prove it, can I? I can't see 50 years down the line and confirm that nothing will ever flip Bitcoin. But in my opinion, nothing crypto related will ever flip Bitcoin. No. Monero certainly can't. I mean, you look at the market cap. You look at the market cap. It would take like I'm pretty sure from here, like from this point where Monero is now, it would probably take it like a 200x from this point. I mean, let's go and look at the difference in market caps. James, how we doing, mate? I'm long on Sol from 142.23, so I'll fight Wiz for money by close of the day. Yeah, mate. So Bitcoin is at a $1.9 trillion market cap, and Monero is at 13 billion. So even if it did 100x from here, 100x, and bearing in mind that would take it to do 100x while Bitcoin didn't move. So you're either counting on Bitcoin to go down while Monero is doing 100x, or Bitcoin to go up, but then Monero to go up even harder than 100x to actually catch it. But yeah, so Monero is 100x from here, and then that would only take it to 1.3 trillion. So then you've got to add another 50% on. So it would be 150x from this point now. So Monero would have to do 150x from now, which would take it to like so Monero would have to go to $100,000. It's currently at 710. It's just not going to happen, is it? It's just not feasible. Like nothing. And you even look at, even look at ETH. ETH is 400 billion, and Bitcoin is 1.9 trillion. ETH would have to do, even if ETH did a 4x from here. So ETH did a 4x, and again, bearing in mind, then you would have to say that Bitcoin didn't go any higher. So ETH would have to do 400% from here. And Bitcoin not move to not create more of a gap. And even if it did that, then ETH would only still be at 1.6 trillion. So ETH would actually have to do a 5x from here. ETH would have to do a 5x, so go up 500%, just to slightly get above. That would take it to obviously 2 trillion, and Bitcoin's at 1.9. It's just not going to happen. And, for XRP, again, same thing. This would take it, a 10x would take it to 1.2 trillion. And then again, it's still like 50% away. So XRP would have to do a 15x from here. It's just not possible. Let's say if someone wanted to DCA into a token and hodl right now, are they not better off DCAing into Monero than Bitcoin? Well, I mean, I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't give financial advice. But me personally, now this is obviously just me personally, but I would not buy this chart now. Personally, I would not buy this chart. Now you can talk about strength and about buying strength, which is true. But personally, I would not buy that. I would not buy this chart. Look at it. Like, where is your value? So what are you hoping it to go towards? Do you know what I mean? Like, you've missed all the move. Even getting in, you know, say in mid-December, a 2x has happened since then. It's just like, what are you hoping for? So you know, what's the theoretical plan, Neji? What do you think? You get your DCA in here in the hopes of what? It does another 2x all the way up here. It's possible, but then like you've got the risk because people that are in, you know, say maybe from down, say if someone's been buying it for the past year, you know, they're at, you know, maybe like a 3-4x from up here. You just become someone else's exit liquidity, don't you? Now, there is the idea that, you know, obviously of what Zek done, when Zek just carried on going and going and going, which, you know, it's possible, you know, could you see Monero do a 2x from here? But of course it's possible. But personally, you know, this has taken so long. If you actually look at how long it's taken XMR to make an all-time high, I'll show you now. Look how long it's took it to make an all-time high. So then if it starts coming back down, then how long are you going to be waiting to try and even just get back at break even? Look at it. Look how long it's took. So it created this high in 2017, 2018. It then slightly tipped it over. You know, look at that, just ever so slightly in May 2021. So it's taken to get back towards here. Obviously, their levels from, you know, their levels from like 7 years ago. Then it come up back here again, didn't it? Almost 5 years ago. It took it so long there to blow past. Now it could get a really aggressive breakout given how long it's been waiting. But personally, like, it's just, you can DCA into whatever you want. Just personally, I wouldn't buy it here. Personally, I mean, if it goes and does 2-3x from here, don't blame me. But it's just like, I'm just not interested in doing that after this move. And it depends what your risk appetite is. Like, if you want something, you know, secure, then you go for Bitcoin, don't you? Because, you know, you're never going to lose 80% of your money in a week on Bitcoin. Obviously, in cycles, it has lost 70-80% from all-time high. But altcoins can lose it so much faster than the rest. You know, you could... Yeah, how long do you reckon it would take to see minus 40% on Monero from this point on if it tops out? Let's see what it did on Zek. You know, Zek, prime example. Look at Zek on the weekly there. And it topped out. And within 3 weeks, it did minus 60% in 3 weeks. You're just not going to see that on Bitcoin now. We saw it back in 2021 and previously. But Bitcoin moves so much different to that from then now, doesn't it? It moves so much more different. But it just all depends on just what you want, mate, doesn't it? It just depends on what you want. Again, you can DCA into anything you want. Not to say anything is a bad or good idea. It's just, what would I do personally? I just wouldn't be interested in buying it there because of how much it's gone up. Personally, I'm a Bitcoin maxi. I buy most Bitcoin dips, but XMR is the true. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's the true privacy coin. Out of all of them, it's the true privacy coin. 100% agree, mate. 100% agree. And if you would have said this, you know, if you would have said that to me, say like a couple of weeks ago, I would, you know, I would 100% agree. It's just now for where it is now. If it comes all the way back down, then it, you know, it's definitely got more risk reward. But from where it is now, it's kind of like, you know, you're buying it in the hopes of getting 50%, 2x, you know, maybe more if you're bullish on it. But then the other hand is, after such a move, are you buying someone else's 3 to 4x potentially? But I'm just going to run to the toilets. Don't go anywhere. In the meantime, drop a big like on the stream, get your questions in, and I'll be back in just a minute. We're back. We're back. Thank you for bearing with me. Right, we've got 15 minutes to go. Let's close the poll. So most people think we're actually going up. Let's get rid of that. End poll. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin's looking interesting here. Something to note is that on Monday, and Wiz kindly told me about this morning. Monday, American markets are closed. So this is the last TradFi open until Tuesday. So something to bear in mind. I don't know about anyone else, but what does everyone else prefer over Coke Zero and Pepsi Max? I've always been a big Coke Zero lover, but I'm actually starting to think that Pepsi Max tastes nicer than Coke Zero. Especially when cold. I'm thinking that Pepsi Max actually does taste nicer than Coke Zero, but yeah. Chippy? Yeah. Probably cover Chippy every stream now, I think. We'll probably cover Chippy every stream. Yeah, let's have a look to see what the heat map's saying anyway. I don't really drink soda. No, I don't. I'm not like a massive drinker of it. I'll have like, say, 1 can a day. And that's it. In this case, it's a cup. But yeah, I'm not like a massive drinker. Like I would never really drink more than like 1 or 2 cans a day. Which is maybe even more than some people, but let's see on the 3-day. Why is it not loading any data? Let's give it a little refresh there. Let's see. You getting any data? There you go. So down at 93.5, which actually would be in the depths of obviously retesting SR. So that's where the hotspot is on the 3-day to the downside, and then to the upside, it's not as much of a hotspot, but it's basically just below the above the high. So that's what we're looking at on the 3-day, which basically is as you'd assume. Obviously, liquidity above here makes complete sense because that's the local high, and then liquidity down here right into SR. There's the hotspot there at 93.5, right on the SR region. So quite interesting to see that. But yeah, I think with there being no US market open on Monday, it does make it quite interesting. Are we going to have kind of no movement today, as you know, maybe TradFi don't particularly want to move into a 3-day close? Overexposed, perhaps. It's going to be interesting to see how it positions on the ETFs on open. Yeah, what's everyone doing over the weekend anyway? Let me know in the chat what you're doing over the weekend or what you're doing tonight. What have you got going on? Myself, sweet FA. Not really much at all. So that's what's going on there. Oh, pardon me. I do apologise if that came quite strongly down the mic. Let's see what gold and silver are doing. Mostly interested in silver. Gold now just in consolidation, obviously after the impulse up. So impulse up on Monday, and then basically Tuesday onwards, we've just been trading in and around this region, haven't we? Let's see silver. Silver's volatility is great, isn't it? I mean, look at silver on a day like today, minus 3.3%. Makes it good for trading. This had a really big drop yesterday, didn't it? Really big drop yesterday, and then got lots and lots of absorption, but then now it's following through to the downside. So close to reaching that $100 mark as well. MSTR had a great day, didn't it, on Wednesday, and then dropped all the way back down. But yeah, I think in general, everything's looking quite good. Let's see how memes are doing. Not really much movement on any of them, is there? Trump still waiting on that SR flip there. Again, this week, we got that rejection from this line. I do think that this will make a good trade at some point once it actually holds above the white line. SPX. Yeah, I think everything's kind of just cooled off, and it bonks a similar one to Pepe, where it's held a lot of its value since obviously the start of the new year. You know, it's still up 43%, and we're only on the 16th of January after retracing from here to here. So, you know, at one point it was up 80, but for not even being 3 weeks into the year, it's not bad gains so far, is it? Pengu was one where I just like, we talked about this before Christmas, didn't we? Pengu, we were looking at Pengu, and it just kind of like I just never followed it through. That would have been a great trade. Pump we looked at before, but yeah, I mean this is another one. This is another one. This interests me a lot too, but let's see what dude's doing. What's dude doing down there? But yeah, there we go. So literally just a game of patience now. Just a game of patience. If you've got your thesis and you got your trade, then there's no need to rush into anything. You just got to give Bitcoin some room to breathe, haven't you, and kind of do its thing. Let's see, what have we got? Let's see what have we got on trending on Polymarket. If anyone wants me to cover anything specifically, let me know in the chat. Will Trump acquire Greenland? That's 30% chance. The Super Bowl champion. Who will be the first to leave the Trump cabinet? Pam Bondi. Do you know what, right? I think that might be one of the most American-sounding names. Pam Bondi. That just sounds so American, doesn't it? I don't know why. It just sounds so American, that Pam Bondi. What a funny name he's got. Peter Hegseth. That's a proper funny name, isn't it? Hi, my name's Pete Hegseth. What's this one? Government shutdown. What was that then? Oh, everything's just moved, hasn't it? Isn't it mad to think that there's been $192 million of volume on this, and it's still so far away? Like it's almost 3 years away, isn't it? It's only just over. Just under 3 years, and there's still $192 million of volume on this. Crazy. Yeah, make sure you drop a like on the stream if you haven't. We are moving into US Open in 8 minutes. So we'll see what we've got cracking over in TradFi for us today. Going into the weekend. A 3-day weekend for the Americans as well. No US market open on Monday. So we may switch up the streaming time on Monday, perhaps. It maybe gives a good chance on Monday to switch up the streaming time. given that there's no US Open. Could do it in the morning. Let me know in the chat if it was to switch up the streaming time. What would you rather it be? Earlier on than when I stream or later on from when I stream? Let me know in the chat. Dip to the Moon says, I walked away for a bit. Did you cover Sol? I have covered Sol, mate, but for you, I'll do it again. Basically, it's struggling at SR in it. So we got the breakout candle initially, and then yesterday we dropped all the way back into it. So not the end of the world, but it's still struggling in and around resistance. So it just needs basically that nudge. It just needs Bitcoin to give it a nudge. And the rest of the market looks like this as well. ETH looks the same. There's actually a lot of altcoins that aren't even anywhere near the actual resistance point from, over the past 2 months yet. So just in general, they need just a bit of a nudge from Bitcoin higher. But really, yeah, I mean, this region is where Sol needs to reclaim, and it did, it broke out initially and then dropped back below. So, well, it just needs to reclaim, which it will do if Bitcoin ends up going higher. But structurally, Sol looks one of the best because it's actually up at the point of resistance, where there's actually a lot that aren't. So this isn't actually a bad thing, really. The fact, it's had a failed breakout in essence, but it's not a bad thing because it's right in and around there. Same for ETH, right in and around SR there. But there's a lot that aren't even anywhere near it. I mean, you look at something like XRP. No, I mean, it hasn't really even got an obvious point of. This price action is so different compared to everything else, isn't it? Like, this price action just looks wild. Like, I don't even know where you'd be looking at for XRP. Probably somewhere in and around here. Trying to just, yeah, probably there. That is the most obvious point of PA there. So you can see, obviously, support, resistance, reclaim, resistance. And again, so far away from it. Hype, the same. Not really looking like it's doing anything. BNB looks good. BNB is on the same as Sol and ETH in terms of strength. But there's just loads that just aren't even anywhere near the point of breaking out. You look at all these. Just nowhere near. So Link is kind of up there. There's a few that are up there. Sui actually already broke out, interestingly. Sui actually already broke out of that 2-month range. But yeah, they just need a nudge. That's all they need. They don't need much. They don't need much. They literally just need Bitcoin to just grind a little bit higher. Because once it is above here, then the move up to here is obviously what we want and what we're interested in. But it just needs that nudge for Bitcoin to expand a bit, and then it gives it room to then test this for SR if it wants to properly. But it gives it that bit of room then, where we didn't really even have much room on this day. We broke out only ever so slightly, and then obviously fell back through. But it, I assume it will come, unless we just get the arse falling out of Bitcoin, which is no good for any of us, is it? 4 minutes to go. Well, 3 minutes really, but. We are getting a bit of a push on Bitcoin leading into open. We've been in this kind of low time frame chop, haven't we? Over the past few hours. But we are getting a little bit of a push on this 5-minute candle going into open. Oh! Oh. Should we see what have we got? We got any news stories? Ethereum sees surge in new users as activity retention nearly doubles. Do you know what's interesting about Ethereum? is the activity on the chain is actually like at all-time highs. The daily transactions just hit an all-time high. The activity on the chain is like massive at the moment, but the gas is so low, which is interesting because like, when was the last time we hadn't like even say a meme coin launch on ETH and actually do anything? It's probably been like since Pepe, hasn't it? Like ages ago. But just the fees are so low on ETH now. If you want to do anything, like you look at this, to send ETH, high importance is under a penny, well, under a cent. To do a swap, 10 cents. NFT sale, 18 cents. Bridging, 3 cents. Borrowing, 9 cents. Tiny considering the network, the network usage, which is a good thing. This is good. I mean, it's still obviously a lot higher in retrospect when you're paying, say a 1/10 of a cent on Sol. But no one minds paying this on ETH if you want to use ETH. This is reasonable, innit? What's not reasonable is bloody when it goes like even $5 is high to send, to do something. But for how active ETH is, and you're getting, all-time high daily transactions and everything, considering what the gas prices used to be, this is great. And it does make me think that at some point, kind of attention, ETH is long overdue, like a form of high attention and narrative on the chain, isn't it? It's long overdue, like anything happening on ETH, and I do think it will probably come at some point this year. I do think at some point this year. Oh well, there's US Open anyway. Ding 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 ding. I've still not got the bell. Ding 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 ding. I still need to get the bell back. But yeah, nice push up into US Open there as we were talking, and nice follow through straight away on Open as well. So Bitcoin's pushing nicely. But yeah, I think for the usage being at all-time highs, the fact that it's this cheap on ETH does make me think at some point this year we're gonna have an ETH season. I do think, because at the end of the day, ETH is still the biggest out there, out of all altcoins in terms of blockchain. Still the one with the biggest market cap. Still the one with the most institutional demand. It's the oldest, apart from Litecoin, and Doge as well. I think Doge was actually created before ETH. But yeah, so I think it will happen eventually. Just needs a runner, doesn't it? It just needs a runner on it. But there we go. Not a great overall US Open now, having retraced most of that 5-minute candle beforehand pump and the pump on US Open. We are now all the way back down. So not the best of opens. I heard the same amount of ETH staked is at all-time high. Yeah, well, Bitmain have staked a big chunk of their ETH. I think they've staked like a quarter of their total entire ETH. They've staked over 1 million ETH, and they hold just over 4 million, I think. So they've staked a lot of theirs. If you think about how much they learn from staking theirs, it's crazy. So yeah, I think I don't know what you get on ETH now. Let's see what you get on ETH. Let's see what you get if you stake on Lido. 2.5%. Not great, is it? It's better than nothing. But I remember when this was like leading into, say, the merge and stuff. This was at like 5%. I used to stake mine on Swissborg back in the day. But I mean, 2.5% is better than nothing, especially, you know, if you say a big ETH bull and you're never going to sell your ETH, or, you know, if you plan on holding it for the next couple of years, whatever, it's not a bad idea. But yeah, 2.5%, and but you know, you think for something like Bitmine that have like $13 billion of ETH, earning 2.5% at the current price, that's a lot of money, isn't it? That is like a hell of a lot of money. So we'll probably just see them start to stake more and more and more and more of it. Getting a bit of a reaction on Bitcoin now. We did push a tiny bit lower, but now we're seeing some good absorption coming. So we're getting some buys coming in, pushing the price back to the upside. Oh, that's nice. There we go. Volatile open. Very volatile open. Let's see how the altcoins have liked that. Yeah, so getting a bit of whipsaw price action across the board. Oh, that's a wild candle on ETH. Look at that. All the way up to 318 and all the way down to 298. But yeah, good open for volatility anyway. Not the best open, but we're not too far away. We're literally $100 away, if that, from where we opened. So it's not the end of the world. But in terms of volatility, good open. It definitely wasn't flat, was it? Hype's beginning to grind higher. Is the bottoming on hype? Pump. Retraced a bit, but yeah, going back to the upside now. Do let me know if you want me to cover anything specific, or if you do want to ask anything in general, do get it into the chat. We're just watching the Bitcoin price action being flung around, low time frame, like a yo-yo. Remember, yeah, I used to love a yo-yo, me. Used to do the tricks of it. Do remember as well, the Stonksy Discord is now free to join. Completely free to join. So come and join. Let me pin that in the chat now. Yeah, come and join the Discord. It's free to enter. You don't get access to the indicator, but you can join the Stonksy community in the Discord. So come and join and put some questions or just your thoughts and feelings across on the market. What do you think is a good place to short XMR? It's such a hard question, that. Oh, look at Bitcoin now. So we're accelerating to the downside now. Completely retrace that pre-open pump. That is such a... I didn't need to move XMR actually to the upside. Let me find it. Where is it? Here. I need to move it to the upside. It's... Do you know why it's such a hard question? Because it's broken out of a super high time frame range. Now this is kind of conflicting, obviously, with what I said before when Neji was asking, saying, you know, would you would you DCA into XMR? And I said no, I still wouldn't, but it wouldn't surprise me if it went higher. Stonksy is still long on this, by the way. Like, Stonksy's been long on this since like $400. Crazy good trade and catch that. But I still wouldn't touch this to the upside just through personal preference. Like, I just don't like to touch anything that has already moved significantly, unless you get like a good SR retest or something like that. It's just personal preference, but you know, you can definitely see examples of where even if you'd have bought something after a 50% move or 100 or even like 2, 3, 4x, it went on to do a lot more. It's just personal preference. But basically, at the moment, on the daily, this looks like a blow off top, doesn't it? On the daily, this created a long, massive long upper wick, and it kind of looks like a blow off top. But I think what you can do is you can kind of treat that as the blow off top if you wanted to. So I think you could short it with anywhere within reason. So basically you could kind of short it like just anywhere like below the high. Like you could basically just short it anywhere below the high and treat that as the high. And all you do is obviously have an invalidation for if it goes higher. So say for instance you opened a short here, and this is not financial advice, remember. Now what you need to do, in my opinion anyway, of course this is just my opinion, you may think it's complete rubbish and maybe, you know, you wouldn't have a stop this wide. But for me personally, if you're trying to short something like this, you need to give yourself the biggest chance possible. So I would have a wide stop, like, and this is why I personally just wouldn't even try shorting it as well, because of like how I would want to trade this is have a wide stop. So I'd probably want a stop, and what you wouldn't want to do is just get taken out on a silly little wick above that wick. So you'd want to give yourself just a little bit of room just in case it does something stupid, like just pops above. But if it starts going up there, you know, you can always just manually take the loss and revisit it. But it doesn't give the best R reward doing it like this. You know, even if you look at, say, a retrace all the way back towards, say, $500, doing it like that only gives you an R of 1.84 because of the wide stop. So, you know, obviously, if you're adopting the thing of above the wick, then the higher up the entry, the better. But, you know, basically, like, in my opinion, that's your invalidation, because if it starts going above here and holding, then it's looking like it's going to go higher. But it's hard. It's like when, you know, when ZEC was on its run, and every time you looked like it was a good short, it would just blow through it. And then it would blow through it and blow through it, but eventually it reached a point of blow off top. Now this hasn't done anywhere near the numbers of ZEC because it didn't need to, because it was already a really large market cap, wasn't it? ZEC was like such a tiny market cap compared to XMR before it did its, like, you know, 10, 20x, whatever it did. This has done basically a 2x and is now sat 11th out of the largest crypto. So it was already a large market cap. But yeah, I mean, it's just like the higher up, the better if you adopt the idea of invalidation above there. But it's hard, man. No, I'm not gonna lie, it's hard to do something like that because of how, you know, strong and the momentum of it. Bosco says, any thought on BitTensor? Let's have a look. Where is Tau? There. Let's see. Quite interestingly, yeah, I mean, high time frame wise, this box has held up well, hasn't it? Like this box has held up very well, high time frame wise. I would say that this just still stands as kind of like the be all and end all of Tau price action. Like, that box just basically separates all the support and resistance for the past year, basically, done it. Like, if you just look across there, this box just separates all SR between support for Tau, sorry. Now, it's a wide box. You know, it's like $25 wide. But basically, it just separates Tau doing, you know, say, trading like this in this range, or Tau, you know, trading like here, doesn't it? That's basically what it does. So, like, I think for optimal like confidence in it being strong, you would want to see it like reclaim $325, I think, in my opinion. And like hold on it on the daily as well. Not talking about like a daily wick or whatever, because you can see obviously what happened here in November with the wicks. But I think, you know, looking at this, you would want to see it 325 and above. Anything, and this is obviously high time frame trading, but I think that's kind of where you get comfortable and gives you good reason then for your long as well. And again, you know, say for instance you were adopting that, say like come up, closed on $125, was holding that. It doesn't really matter if it goes back into this region a bit, because you know you can see obviously this has been used as resistance and support for the whole box on both sides. You know, let's just say for argument's sake you get an entry of like 315. It comes up to 325, it holds, drops down a little bit, low time frame, rounds off, and you think, right, okay, this is where I'm going to do it. And you're going to target, say, up towards here, you know, where you got highs. That was kind of like just kind of a blow off, kind of liquidation-ish type of thing. And then you get in there, and then your invalidation is easy, because you know if it starts to break back below the grey box, then it's no good and it's weak, and then it's re-entering obviously this box being resistance. So again, you know, you can put this however you want. You can make it 5%, you could make it 10%, you could make it 15%, obviously if you're trading, you know, with low leverage or whatever. So you give yourself 10%. You know, that's like a 4-hour trade there. That's a 4-hour trade, and it's all based around just using the price action on hand and looking across. So that's what I think anyway. So yeah, so that's my thoughts on it, and it's all about kind of that grey area for me. Are you in any trades, Dave? I'm just holding a Bitcoin long from lower down, mate. My entry is like just above 90k, and that's it. That's all I'm holding for now. I am interested in trading the breakout on Solana and ETH, so I'm just waiting for that. I'm just waiting for kind of the dailies to form above them boxes that I've drew on Solana and ETH, and I'm just waiting for the breakout on them. So just these two, you know, as soon as we start to get daily closes above here, and again, you know what I've just said for Tau works on these as well. You know, there's no reason why you can't say, when you're confident that say ETH is holding this box as support, there's no reason why you can't just adopt the same thing of, right, you know, we flip that, and this R isn't great, but this is, you know, this would be a trade that would last a week tops, wouldn't it, before it got took out on either side. And that would be kind of like one of two. You know, you could have, say, that as like your TP1, and then, you know, your eventual TP would, say, do something like this. You know, something like that. And you could make it a bit wider, you know, with the idea in mind that it's going to be a swing position, something like that. And then, you know, I'm just waiting on ETH and Sol to kind of just confirm like these boxes have become support, and then I think it's game on for higher levels then, as long as Bitcoin behaves. You know, that's the thing in it. It's all good, all, you know, looking at this and and looking at these, because it just looks like the place where price is going to be attracted to next for Solana ETH. But it needs Bitcoin to behave. It's no good. You know, Bitcoin can come back down to here, fine, and it will give lower entries on ETH and Sol then, obviously. But as long as just Bitcoin holds above this white box, it's all fine. But I'm just waiting for Solana ETH to kind of give that leap over. I don't know what Stonksy's doing on Solana ETH still. It was, yeah. So on Sol, it's still in the green on the hourly. What's it doing on ETH? No hourly background on ETH, but the Sol one is still green. I think the Bitcoin one, yeah, the Bitcoin one is still open as well. Yeah, that's where we're up to. Thank you very much for joining me today. It's been a great stream. Apologize. It's been a great stream. Yeah, thank you for joining me. It's been a pleasure. And I hope you all have a great weekend. Have a great Friday night. Have a great weekend. Be active in the Discord. And I'll see all of you on Monday's stream. So do make sure, if you're new around here, subscribe, drop a like. And yeah, I will catch you all on Monday. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.